Social Security increase for 2024. It's a big change from the past couple of years. I've got that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Social Security is unique in the fact that you get a cost of living adjustment each and every year. And some of you I know will say, well, sometimes that calculation is zero. I know, but there is a calculation that is done every single year. And if you're fortunate enough to have a pension, then most likely it does not have an inflation adjustment every year. If you have monthly annuity income, maybe that you have set up or whatever, it's very unlikely that that has an inflation adjustment. And then if you're drawing the sort of the final source of income in retirement, if you're drawing money out of your retirement accounts, dividends or IRAs or whatever, you don't have an automatic inflation adjustment. Now, could you increase your withdrawal? Absolutely. And if your investments perform well and the value grows, if you're withdrawing a percentage, then that automatically should keep up with inflation. In fact, long-term investments are really the best investment for fighting inflation over the long term. When you look at historical return to the market compared to inflation, it really it offers the best inflation-adjusted return. But when those are your choices or those are your sources of retirement income, Social Security stands alone and stands very unique in that it does provide this cost of living adjustment each year. Now, every year, this cost of living adjustment is based on the prices, the urban CPI, so CPIW, from the third quarter, so July, August, and September of the current year compared to the previous year, and that's what will determine the cost of living adjustment for the next year, okay? So it's July, August, September, and if you say, well, that's not fair, it should account for the whole year, I'm not going to argue with you that, you know, they had to pick a year-over-year comparison, and they picked the third quarter, and so that means it can be released, and so that people can plan ahead what adjustment they should expect. It's released in October, and you can plan on it for next year. Well, just recently, Social Security did that calculation and came out with their cost of living adjustment. Falls right in line with what we were expecting, what others were expecting. A 3.2% increase is what you're going to see on your Social Security next year. Now, even though you might look at that and say, oh, it still feels like inflation's way above that. Listen, I get it. If you're just looking at the grocery store, inflation is not 3%, even though the CPI is somewhere between 3 and 4 right now. If you look at grocery store prices or normal everyday prices that we all experience as consumers, it still feels like it's running hotter than that. But that 3.2 might be disappointing compared to the 8.7 increase that you got last year and the 5.9% increase the year before. If you look at Social Security cost of living adjustments just over the 3 years, it's been pretty significant. And yes, we've had unbelievable inflation. I'd much rather have stable prices and very low cost of living adjustment, but pretty significant over these past couple of years. And yes, 3.2 is lower, but when you compare that to the average cost of living adjustment over the past couple of decades, that's only just over 2%. So 3.2% is higher than that. Now, when will you get this cost of living adjustment? Well, obviously starting in your January Social Security payment. Later this year, at the time I'm recording, it hasn't been released yet, but later this year we'll hear the Medicare Part B premium increase. My guess is that's going to be around $10 approximately. We'll see. And right now, the average Social Security is around $1,800, and so a 3.2% increase is an over $50 a month increase to the average Social Security. When you account for the increase in Medicare, you're probably going to feel somewhere of around a $40 increase, but obviously that depends on your own unique situation. And then lastly, what if you're not drawing Social Security? Do you still get this 3.2% increase? Sort of, okay? If you are age 60 or older next year, you're going to get this automatic cost of living increase even if you're not collecting Social Security. So think of this right now, you're 63 years old, you're still working, not collecting Social Security, you'll see on your statement, you're gonna get a 3.2% bump in your Social Security automatically, okay? If you're age 60 and you're not collecting Social Security, you'll get this 3.2% increase as well. If you're younger than age 60, it won't automatically be applied. And here's the justification. Well, they have to have a cutoff somewhere, but the other justification is your Social Security calculation is very complicated, but it's based on 35 years of work history. And if you, over that time, hopefully, your wages are adjusting and adapting and increasing with overall inflation, right? And so that's where you might say it's an unfair system. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you on that either. And but they have to do a cutoff, and they're saying, well, if you're younger than age 60, you're still in your working years, and so each year you're working, hopefully you're earning a wage that is taking into consideration cost of living adjustments and inflation, and that's going to be calculated in and factored into your Social Security calculation. But if you're age 60 or older, you're in the final years of your working career, and they're going to give you that cost of living adjustment whether you're collecting Social Security or not. All right, so there you have it. That's the increase for Social Security for 2024. I hope you're not disappointed. Work with your certified financial planner. See if you haven't yet decided when you're going to draw Social Security, what's the right time to do so? How do you optimize Social Security for your situation? Work with your certified financial planner on that. If you already are collecting Social Security, then work with your CFP to see, well, what does this 3.2% increase do for you? Does it influence your taxes at all? Does it mean that, well, you've got to increase what you're drawing out of your IRAs or how you're supplementing Social Security? See how this impacts your financial plan. Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@Korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.